Did you know that Lara Croft is the most iconic video game character of all time? I mean, what? No, okay, like, she's a very prominent character. I've got nothing in... I don't inherently have anything against Lara Croft. I wasn't a big fan of the original Tomb Raider games. I played the reboot that came out in the late aughts. I thought it was decent. I know that a lot of people have a lot of affection for those games for different reasons. But to say that she's the most iconic character of all time, ahead of, oh, I don't know, Mario, Agent 47, Sonic the Hedge, Sackboy, Pac-Man, Link, Master Chief, like, what do we do? Shadowheart and Baldur's Gate 3? That game hasn't even been out for a year yet. Arthur Morgan, Red Dead Redemption 2, Pikachu. Yo, man, okay, you know the industry is screwed when you have BAFTA coming out, trying to do hello fellow kids with video game characters and missing the point so hard. But there's a reason. There's a reason that they released this poll. There's a reason that they named Lara Croft as the most iconic video game character, is because they're trying to use her as a wedge to interject the same politics that destroyed Hollywood through a female vessel into an industry that is already ripe with rot of its own. And we've seen the Tomb Raider franchise get into a bit of controversy earlier this year with the remasters of the original 3 games. Spire put together something great. Can't really say the same about their follow-up work with the Star Wars Battlefront remakes. Ugh. No. The rights holder, or I'm sorry, the publisher right now, Crystal Dynamics, had their goofy little, oh, we're so sorry about, the insensitivity of the past games, but please still continue to give us money. They decided with their ideological march through the franchise with the tabletop RPG that they have coming out. Okay, Tomb Raider, Shadows of the Truth. Terrible name. What terrible art that they have right there. Anyways, the TTRPG guidebook confirms Crystal Dynamics working to apologize for franchises' colonialist origins. Oh my god! Latest instance of the Western video game industry's incessant obsession with unnecessary virtue signaling. The guidebook for the Tomb Raider Shadows of the Truth. That's a terrible name. Tabletop role-playing game has revealed the current franchise developer Crystal Dynamics is actively working to both apologize for and distance the action-adventure series from its colonialist root. The fact that Lara is British, like, I don't even know what you're going at with this, but okay. Developed by TTRPG production studio Evil Hat Productions, who readers may remember as the publisher behind the tension desperate title Thirsty Swords Lesbians. What? Tomb Raider Shadows of the Truth. What? Thirsty Swords Holy shit, man. What the hell are we doing? But yes, Shadows of the Truth puts players in the role of truth seekers. Oh, great. Described in the game as contemporaries of Lara Croft, who strive to reveal her long-hidden knowledge and thwart those who would steal and exploit artifacts for their own gains. Oh, I want to die. As a truth seeker, players are tasked with exploring various locales and ruins in service of solving any number of ancient mysteries, with the exact details of which are determined for each campaign by the Keeper of Truth. Essentially, yes, it sounded like a dungeon master from a D&D type thing, but yeah, okay, so apparently you see a third-person action game as the perfect vehicle to deliver a Dungeons and Dragons game. But yeah, okay, cool. So there's your very diverse keepers of truth. Polynesian man, 2 vaguely white women. I'm sure the one with the white or blonde hair is probably trans. And yes, there's your body positivity character. Oh, and also disabled with the old spatula feet. Fantastic. Those things must be very strong. Unsurprisingly, in both the premise and its source of the franchise and the TTRPG itself, Tomb Raider Shadows of Truth requires the players to raid various ruins and uncover the various clues and historical truths they contain therein. You're out there to go find your truth. Oh. To this end, in an ostensible attempt to avoid their work being problematic, Evil Hat Productions includes a disclaimer within the game's guidebook explaining to players that while the Tomb Raider franchise was based on the idea of being an archaeologist explorer, Crystal Dynamics has since moved to distance Lara Croft from her future adventures from their original concept. Yeah, she's just going to be a raider of targets? I have no idea. Headlining raiding and colonialism. This is a real thing, huh? The disclaimer: as discovered in the early playtest version, okay, of the game begins. What then is raiding? And how does it mirror colonial practices? Raiding, as depicted in the original Tomb Raider games and the stories, involves going to ancient tombs and historical sites of different civilizations and acquiring artifacts. Yes, so far so good. It operates on the assumption of finders keepers that grants raiders with the means and drive to claim ownership of artifacts, regardless of whether they have any historical or cultural claim to the treasure. Jesus, this whole it doesn't just because it comes from there, it belongs there. So stupid. Other games released in the franchise have started the work of addressing this by having Lara acknowledge her past mistakes and, oh, that's why I haven't played any of these games, it sounds awful, and try to understand and show respect for the culture and communities she comes into contact with. She has also worked to reform raider culture. There's like 2 of them in the world, okay? There's her and whatever Gerard Butler's character in the second Tomb Raider movie was, like, I don't know, okay. And raise awareness of her peers. Oh my god, Lara is no longer decorates her mantle with mythic artifacts. Yeah, that these cultures cared so much about, they went and found for themselves on their own land. But, you know, all of these rare artifacts, you know, they'd belong to those tribes that would definitely take them, and they wouldn't sell them off to the highest bidder. Of course not. As a raider, she prioritizes seeking out the truth. Yeah, see, she's out there to go find her truth. Guys, this is so much more fun than, you know, raiding tombs. Much of the game is inspired by her humanity, struggle with heroism, and her tenacity. This a tabletop role-playing game where you just sit around and talk about your feelings. It sounds like absolute ass cancer, bro. I wish this was the only franchise. Actually, I don't, because, you know, for the people who like the Tomb Raider franchise, I don't wish this upon you or anybody who holds these franchises dear. But it is not the only one, but this is another one that has been pilfered and pillaged in other avenues. But now Star Wars, when it comes to the video games, most of them, well, outside of the Lucas Arts stuff, like them or not, you know, they were incredibly popular. You had Rogue Squadron, Bounty Hunter, Knights of the Old Republic, all of those games, okay, and several other ones, okay, all the way back in the cut, all the way up until the Disney acquisition and then the immediate closure of LucasArts. Those are held in high regards. Previously mentioned the Star Wars Battlefront games, and those in their original incarnations were fantastic. I think I played the second one back on the PlayStation 2. It was a fun time. But since EA, and now that EA lost the exclusive rights, and now Ubisoft is going to be creating Star Wars Outlaws, what's the first thing that they do? Well, they stick to that old tried and true Disney trope of sticking a chick in it and making it lame. Because the first trailer for Star Wars Outlaws dropped, and brother, ooh, it looks shockingly bad. No, it looks shockingly generic, and literally, they took the story of Han Solo, stuck a chick in it, made her lame and gay. It's really terrible. Because there you have her. And, oh yeah, here's her close-up. Okay, this is the main character of Star Wars Outlaws. And, that is a jaw? That is a jaw that you could make a cabinet with. Holy, what are we doing here? And as Gundam points out, it's like, oh yeah, cool, they're making a sequel to that Warriors game. Oh, makes sense. Fantastic. Something is very off about the first trailer of Ubisoft's upcoming Star Wars Outlaws. Yeah, it looks like ass. It's hard to pinpoint exactly what it is. A lot of checks and a very predictable outcome of the story. Oh, there you go. I'll just go ahead and say it for everyone. There's a female lead who's just going to go ahead and take everything that was cool about Han Solo, make it pathetic, because her character arc is that, oh, guess what, guys? She just didn't believe in herself hard enough. And then the main antagonist, the straight white guy, surprise, isn't actually going to end up being the main antagonist. It's going to be her, you know, black sidekick, who's actually not all that bad. She's just misunderstood. That by the end of this game, whenever Ma'am Solo is done climbing the different UB towers outside of Jabba's palace, they're gonna team up and break into the Syndicate. And God, Outlaws follows the exploits of K-Vess. All of these names are so lame. Oh my god. And her adorable, Wookiee Merkel companion, Nix, D. Bradley Baker. Oh, poor guy. Gonzalez has mostly done the live-action work, but contributed to Far Cry 6. Oh, great. Yeah, the one that nobody played. And Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. That was the game that, everybody didn't like from Ubisoft. Had a lot of promise, but oof. I fell off quick. Baker has voiced a ton of characters last in shows like Legend of Korra. Oof, so been a part of some winners. Avatar: The Last Airbender, Gravity Falls, Steven Universe, Star Wars shows like Rebels, Clone Wars, and The Bad Batch. Oh yes. A Rincon plays the cool trench coat wearing droid ND5. His credits include Dead Island 2, Atomic Heart, Crispy Critters, and Horizon Forbidden West. Oh yes, with Nick Avocado playing, what's her name, Alloy, and much more. Yeah, there's the trailer. I don't encourage you watch it. It's terribly boring. I don't know about you, but I think it looks pretty bad. It does. The graphics are fine, but that's mostly what you get, because graphics kind of peaked midway through the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 era. I'll keep it a buck. Like, things have gotten incrementally better, but that leap that you would go from, because I'm old enough to remember going from the NES to Super Nintendo, that was massive. And then the 3D era, as rough as that was, moving from the PlayStation to the PS2, and then from the PS2 to the PS3, but then towards the end of the PS3 to the PS4, we got Particles, cool. And then especially now that I've divested so much time into the PS5, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, got in one reference, realistically hasn't gotten that much better. So yeah, of course, graphics are fine. What about the gameplay? Like, the graphics, they haven't really evolved all that much since like the PS3 era. That's always been the hang up against Ubisoft, because yeah, this is coming out of Ubisoft. It looks like a Ubisoft game. They haven't really evolved since, I can't remember which one came out first, Assassin's Creed 2 or Far Cry 3. They've been kind of stuck in those same holding patterns. It's been that game for that long. That's why nobody's excited by this announcement. Yeah, everybody was happy that finally we'll probably get more Star Wars games, which have always been driving the IP due to a lack of, quality content coming out. Now that EA has lost the exclusive rights to it, and they put out, what, the ill-fated Battlefront, their versions of it, and what, Jedi Fallen and Lost and Stumbled and Biden, whatever the hell those Jedi games were, swinging and missing on the first voting. It's like, cool. But hey guys, at least it's diverse. At least there's a woman in it. That's all that's important in modern day gaming. Got the right message, and if you don't buy it, you're a bigot. But threats like that in 2024, they don't quite hit as hard as they used to. I look forward to talking about another bomb coming out in the near future, and that would be in the form of Star Wars Outlaws and whatever ultimately happens, because hey, there's supposed to be a TV show coming out about Tomb Raider that's written by the chick that destroyed Indiana Jones, Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Yay! Ugh. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.